Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video. Today, I'm here to give you my unofficial mid-season NBA award picks. I know the season really only has like a little over 20 games left, but unofficially, the All-Star break is the halfway point of the NBA season when you account for the playoffs and stuff like that. So, mid-season, this right now is where I'm at with my NBA award picks, and more than ever, not just with the MVP, because I've made videos talking about that, but as I was going through making my picks, this is a ridiculously hard to pick NBA award season. Like, I feel like there's not a single one of these that I'm going to say today is a lock. I think these could change tomorrow, in a week, and there might even be candidates that I don't really talk about that much that could come up in the awards later on. There are just so many factors to take into account, so many players that could win each of these awards, and I think that's part of what's making this season so fun for me, is that everything is so unpredictable. You don't know where things are going to go, so many fun surprises and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through the 6 major awards: Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, Sixth Man of the Year, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP in that order. I'm going to give you my picks. I'm going to give you a couple of honorable mentions as well, just to make sure I talk about a bunch of different candidates. And yeah, I'll try to make this quick. Let's go ahead and get into it. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and tell me who your picks are for the major awards in the comment section below. Starting off, as I mentioned, with Rookie of the Year. Now, at first, this was kind of like a 2-man race, but now, in my biased opinion, I think it's kind of become a 3-man race between Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, and Josh Giddy at this moment. There's always still time, too, for like a Cade Cunningham to rise up if he has a great stretch for the Pistons right here at the end. Franz Wagner has been great this season. There have just been so many great rookies in what everyone kind of knew was going to be a great rookie class, but even outside of the top prospects, other great players have stepped up, like Ayo Dosunmu and Herb Jones, 2 second-round picks, just for an example. So it's been a really fun season to watch these young rookies. I do think right now, as at Rookie of the Year, I have Evan Mobley. He's been my favorite for almost the entirety of the season, the way that he has lifted up this Cavs team. He's been really solid offensively, but of course, the major impact that he brings is his defense, one of the best defenders we've seen as a rookie in a very, very long time, especially at the big man position. There were some people that were concerned about his frame, and it has not been a problem at all. His mobility on the perimeter, his ability to block shots, just him and Jarrett Allen as a defensive duo down low is part of why the Cavaliers have been such a big surprise and so successful this season. I love what I've seen from Evan Mobley. He is definitely my Rookie of the Year so far. As I mentioned, my 2 honorable mentions are Scotty Barnes and Josh Giddey. Scotty Barnes has played great for the Raptors. He's kind of slowed down a little bit. He was by far the top rookie at the beginning of the season. He started off to a really hot start, but he's really cooled off as of recently as the Raptors have kind of gotten healthier, specifically with like Pascal Siakam coming back, OG Anunoby coming back. So I do think his numbers are going to continue to decline, which I think might end up keeping him out of contention when it's all said and done for that top spot. But I do think Scotty Barnes absolutely could, if he catches fire again, make a case for himself. And Josh Giddey has been incredible in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's absence. He's averaging the 2nd most points per game by a rookie over the last month or so. His assists are number 1. He's one of the best rebounders as a point guard in this entire rookie class. Everything that he's been doing, if you're not watching OKC games, at least go watch a few of them. Go watch Josh Giddey play. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does return tonight as I'm recording this video, and so Giddey's numbers may slow down a little bit, which I think also gives Mobley an edge over him, but I do think Josh Giddey has done enough to establish himself as a firm 3rd or 2A, 2B to Scotty Barnes in the Rookie of the Year race. Number 2, we've got the Most Improved Player Award, and once again, this is one that has a lot of candidates. Of course, you've got some. It's really just a matter of what you think when you think Most Improved Player. Do you think a role player becoming a star? Do you think a star becoming a superstar? What is your definition? And I think that changes between pretty much everyone. For me personally, it depends. It's like a season by season thing. Some of the big names to take a look at as we go into this are Miles Bridges, who's kind of made that leap from like, oh, he's a decent young piece, to like, wow, he is a legitimate potential star for the Charlotte Hornets. Anthony Simons, who has been huge in the absence of Damian Lillard, and now that CJ McCollum has been traded, he has been the number 1 option in that Portland offense for a lot of this season so far. You've got John Morant, who's made a huge leap. DeJounte Murray is another name, Darius Garland. There are so many different names you can take into account here, but for me personally, I think I'm going to give it to John Morant. He's made that leap from like, oh, this is a fun young player that might make an all-star game in a few years, to he might be all NBA first team. In fact, he is all NBA first team at this point. He's made such a huge leap. He's carried that Grizzlies team, or not carried them, but He's been the number one reason why the Grizzlies have been as successful as they are. He's a must-see player. Basically, any night that he's playing basketball, you've got to go take a look at what Ja Morant did every night. He's averaging around 26 points per game. He's a great playmaker, decent rebounder, one of the best guard finishers at the rim. His three-point shot has become respectable. Ja is doing everything for that Grizzlies team. He's made the leap from star to legitimate All-NBA first-teamer, and that, in my opinion, is deserving of the Most Improved Player award. My honorable mentions, as I mentioned, were Miles Bridges making that leap from like, oh, he's like maybe a piece for the future to the Hornets might have to max him this upcoming offseason. Then you have Anthony Simons, as I mentioned, very Dame-esque, some of the moves that he makes. There's a couple clips out there you can watch where they put like Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons like shooting kind of a similar step back jumper from the right wing. It's like identical, the stuff that Anthony Simons is doing to Damian Lillard. Not saying he's Dame, but he has a lot of that kind of swagger to him. Like when Anthony Simons puts up a shot, I kind of expect it to go in more often than not. So he's been phenomenal for them, looking like potentially their shooting guard of the future. And DeJounte Murray also, I believe, deserves a shout out for what he's doing, getting his first All-Star appearance and finally having that kind of breakout season that me and many others thought he could have a couple years ago before that injury. He's doing it now, so shout to DeJounte Murray. Number 3, we have the Sixth Man of the Year, and while this one has kind of a more clear favorite, it still is pretty contested. For me, the clear favorite right now is Tyler Hero, and he is my pick. He's been probably the best offensive player for that Miami Heat team when he is healthy. He has missed some time, and it is super noticeable when Tyler Hero doesn't play, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm leaning him for Sixth Man of the Year. If he doesn't play, that Heat offense can get really lost a lot of times. He knocks down so many difficult shots, and he shoots a lot of difficult shots because they really put a lot of attention on him because they know he is the scorer for that team. And so when he's out there, he has to shoot a lot of difficult shots, and somehow he hits them like way more often than not. It's super fun to watch what he's been doing this season, averaging a career high in points per game, having that kind of breakout season. Maybe in the future he could even be an all-star at some point, but for right now, I do think he is the leading Sixth Man of the Year candidate. Behind him, you do have a couple great candidates as well. Specifically, I want to talk about Kevin Love, who has been phenomenal for the Cavaliers. Kevin Love has had one of like the most diverse career arcs I've ever seen. He went from a bruising, like rebound grabbing, like power forward / center for the Timberwolves, averaging well over 20 points per game as an all-star, to the Cavaliers, where he became like a three-point threat, a stretch big, to now being like a Sixth Man of the Year, just playing off the bench. Kevin Love has had a crazy career arc, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for the way that he has shifted his game consistently to match what his team needs from him. It's been super impressive to watch this season, and now that he's healthy, he is getting things done for them off the bench, so shout to Kevin Love. And I do think Kelly Oubre Jr. also deserves a shout out. He has these crazy games every now and again where he'll just hit 10 threes like inexplicably. He's just a microwave scorer off the bench. If he's hot, he's hot. There are definitely some nights where he's not, but that's going to happen for any scorer off the bench, and Kelly Oubre has been pretty consistent in the absence of some of their other guys, and when he comes off the bench, he is a threat to score pretty much any second he's on the court. Number 4, in terms of awards, we have Coach of the Year, and this is one I've thought about a lot. I'm really not even sure how confident I am in my pick, but my pick is Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns. I feel like he should have gotten it last year, or at least should have gotten more. I guess he came in second. I think he should have gotten it last year over Tom Thibodeau. So I do believe that he is deserving of it right now. The Suns have by far been the best team in the NBA up to this point. And if the Suns are able to hold on to that 1 seed while missing Chris Paul for probably the rest of the regular season, I do think that he pretty much becomes locked in with the award. He's just a phenomenal coach, one of the best coaches in the league, in my opinion. Outside of him, I do think a lot of other coaches deserve consideration. You've got Billy Donovan of the Chicago Bulls, who they've been through a lot of injuries, missing guys. And just off the bat, they had to integrate a lot of new names into this offense. And so Billy Donovan, the way that he's got this team continuing to play great basketball, and the fact that they're tied for the 1 seed right now as we head out of the All-Star break is super impressive in my opinion. JB Bickerstaff of the Cleveland Cavaliers, getting a young team to really lock in the way that they have is super impressive by a coach. And Taylor Jenkins of the Memphis Grizzlies, just another team that has really been a big surprise, that has really kind of taken massive leaps, and I do think his coaching is part of that. So those are my 4 guys for Coach of the Year, but I am leaning Monty Williams as the winner. Next, we've got the two big ones. We've got Defensive Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player, and these are two pretty contested awards. For Defensive Player of the Year, I do have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis has been anchoring the Bucks defense. He's just so versatile. Like, his combination of athleticism, his length, his strength, his ability to just kind of like make any play necessary on the defensive end, whether it's a chase down block or it's rim protection or guarding someone out in the perimeter. Giannis can do basically anything. He might be the most versatile defender in the NBA at this point. The way that he's played right now, he is my front runner. Behind him, I have Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green. Draymond Green was my pick for most of this season. I think the last time I did one of these videos, it was Draymond Green as my pick, and that was because Draymond was anchoring one of the best defenses in the NBA in the Golden State Warriors. The problem is, since that video, Draymond Green hasn't really played much, and we're not quite sure when he'll be back, whether it's like mid-March or late March, so I think he might just end up missing too much time to win this award. If he does come back, he definitely could make a case for himself towards the end, but Draymond Green, if healthy, might be my pick. For right now, I just don't think he's played enough games. And of course, Rudy Gobert, you know how great Gobert is as a rim protector. He is basically the defense for the Utah Jazz, who have awful perimeter defense. They can't guard anything at the point of attack. It's Rudy Gobert. Gobert is the one that is making that Jazz defense run. Without him, I don't know where they'd be. And finally, my most valuable player pick. I think there are three guys kind of at the top, as well as like a fourth guy right there in the bubble. For me, the top three candidates are Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid in no order. And then you have DeMar DeRozan, who is also right there. You have other guys that could enter this race like John Morant, Steph Curry if he catches fire, Devin Booker if he helps lead the Suns to a great record even without Chris Paul, Kevin Durant if he comes back in time. Like, there are so many different names we could talk about in this race. But for me, those three guys are the three guys I want to talk about mainly. And my pick for MVP right now is Joel Embiid. The way that Embiid has played with the whole Ben Simmons situation, the way he stepped up his game. He had a rocky couple first weeks, and then he had kind of this injury. And then coming out of that, he's been, or I believe it was COVID actually, not an injury. Ever since then, it's been like he has played like the best player in the NBA basically since then. 30-point games, 40-point games, 50-point games, like 50 points on I think it was like 20-some shots, ridiculous efficiency. He has been doing everything offensively and defensively. He is the offensive system. His ability to make mid-range jumpers look like layups. He's knocking down like step-back threes and stuff like that. Joel Embiid is basically unguardable, and the way that he has played, having his best season of his career despite missing the guy who's supposed to be his number two in Ben Simmons, now getting James Harden, he may affect Embiid's numbers, and that may ultimately cost Embiid the MVP award, although maybe James Harden really just helps the record, and Joel Embiid therefore rises up in this race. But it's going to be interesting to see the way that that kind of affects things, but I do think as of right now, at the All-Star break, Joel Embiid is my pick. I mean, right behind him, like, you could pick any of these top three, even top four guys with DeRozan, and I'm not going to be upset at your pick. Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo are right there for me as well. Nikola Jokic is probably putting up the best individual numbers of any of these guys. Ridiculous efficiency, missing Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., and still at a pretty good record in the Western Conference, which is super tough. He's just doing great things. He's better at defense. He's the same great playmaker. His efficiency is incredible. He's grabbing like 14 rebounds a game as well. Nikola Jokic just has dominant performances basically every single night, and what he's doing for the Nuggets, missing those two guys, should definitely not go unnoticed. Giannis Antetokounmpo leading the Defensive Player of the Year race, right now second in scoring as well. I think he's a great pick. Right now, the Bucks are a couple seeds behind the Sixers. If they catch up to the Sixers, and this is a Bucks team that would 100% go out and get the first seed in the second half of the season, and if they do make that run, he might be hard to deny this award. Now that voter fatigue has kind of worn off after he won back-to-back awards a few seasons ago, I think Giannis is 100% in this running and could definitely take this award home as well. So those are my three guys. I think those three are probably the front runners at this moment. I think it's going to be a super fun finish to that award race. Like I said, if you pick any of those guys, I'm not going to be mad. Joel Embiid for me is just my personal pick, and that could change like tomorrow. Like, basically any day you ask me, my award choice might be different for like a lot of these awards actually. So those are my thoughts on the award races. Let me know what your award picks are in the comment section below. I'm super curious. I really like reading about this because I think it's a super fun award season. Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Real one, say it back.